On her 30th birthday, alone at dinner, she discovered an incredible truth that changed everything. Jessica stood in the small-town diner, a vibrant hub of laughter and warmth, but on that particular evening, she felt like an outsider peering through foggy glass. It was her birthday, yet here she was, with only a half-eaten slice of cherry pie on her plate for company. The sweet aroma of baked goods filled the air alongside the cheer of families gathered at cozy booths, sharing in the simple joy of togetherness. Her heart ached. She longed for the kind of familial love that illuminated their faces. As she weaved through tables, her smile felt forced, her laughter practiced. She couldn't shake the heaviness sitting in her chest. Growing up as the daughter of immigrant parents, Jessica understood sacrifice. She thought of her father's worn hands and her mother's relentless work ethic, the stories they shared, filled with dreams of a brighter future for her. They had instilled in her the importance of education and hard work, but as she looked at the twinkling lights in the diner, she couldn't help but reflect on her own unfinished dreams. What had become of her aspirations? As she served coffee and pie, her heart sank deeper into isolation. She could see the joy in other people's lives, but hers felt like a muted color palette. Just when despair threatened to pull her under, an elderly man in glasses caught her attention. Mr. Thompson, a local Vietnam veteran. His gnarled hands clutched a steaming cup of coffee. He motioned her over, his blue eyes sparkling, crinkling at the corners as if they held stories of wisdom and triumph. "Jessica," he began, his voice steady like the unwavering rhythm of the diner's hum. "Today is your birthday, isn't it? You keep your chin up, girl. Each year is a new chapter." His words wrapped around her like a warm embrace. They exchanged stories, his battles not just in war, but against prejudice, a changing world that often made him feel on the outside. Each tale resonated deep within her heart, stirring courage she had long buried. While adjusting her plate, a folded letter slipped from beneath the pie. Intrigued, she snatched it up. The writing was familiar, her late grandmother's elegant penmanship. Heart-pounding, she unfolded it. It was a letter of inheritance, revealing a hidden treasure her grandmother had set aside in case times grew tough. A startling fortune, enough to turn her family's struggles into something transformative. The bustling diner seemed to fade away as memories washed over her, the laughter, the sacrifices, the hopes, all culminating in this moment. Just when hope ignited within her, an undercurrent of tension began to seep into the atmosphere. They had fought so hard against loss. Would their community accept them, or would prejudices linger like old scars? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As laughter erupted around her, the contrast pierced her heart. This revelation could mend broken ties with estranged family and neighbors. But would they welcome change, or would heaving walls keep them apart? The diner, once a cage, now brimmed with potential. Could a single letter rewrite her story of isolation, unlocking the strength that lay dormant within her? Jessica stood at that emotional crossroads, ready to embrace or resist the change that beckoned her forward, unaware of the tempest that awaited. With shaky hands, Jessica traced the delicate script of her grandmother's letter. Each loop and swirl felt like a promise lingering in the air. The words seemed to pull her out of the diner and into a world where dreams weren't just distant memories, but within reach. A fortune, a lifeline. But what did that truly mean? Mr. Thompson's laughter pulled her back. "You're thinking hard over there, Jessica. Got big plans for that birthday pie?" He winked, his jovial spirit lighting up the gloom that had settled around her. Actually, she paused, the weight of the letter pulling at her insides. "I just found something, a letter from my grandmother." She could hardly gather the words to explain the weight of what this revelation could entail. The smile dropped from Mr. Thompson's face, replaced by a knowing look. "Ah, family ties," he whispered, as if it was magic he couldn't quite grasp. "It's a funny thing, isn't it? The way they can bind us and set us free at the same time. But we have to do our part." His words hung in the air, dense with meaning. Could it be that simple? Did she just have to reach out for connection? Jessica took a deep breath. The pie lay forgotten, its sweetness overshadowed by the bitterness of unspoken truths. She needed to explore this hidden treasure her grandmother had left behind, to discover what it might mean for her family, their legacy, and perhaps her own heart. "Why don't we go for a little walk after your shift?" Mr. Thompson suggested, as he slid a crumpled bill across the table. "There's a park not too far from here. I could use a stroll, and there's always something to learn from a good conversation." An unexpected jolt of courage surged through her. Sure, I'd like that. She felt a kinship with this man, a connection bridging generations. As she wrapped up her shift, her mind raced with thoughts of where to start. The fortune? Her family? Would sharing this news strengthen bonds, or tear them apart? The swirling emotions felt like a storm brewing inside her, muddled with anticipation and anxiety. After locking the diner door behind them, the early evening air felt fresh and invigorating. They walked in silence for a moment, each lost in thought, enveloped by the symphony of distant laughter and the soft rustle of leaves. "Jessica," Mr. Thompson finally said, breaking the quiet. "You know, stepping out of where you've always been is often uncomfortable, but it can lead to beautiful things. Just like those silver linings in dark clouds. Sometimes you gotta step out of the shadows." "Yeah, but what if people don't understand?" She mused, letting her worries spill out. "What if they don't want anything to do with me because of what I've found?" "They might surprise you," he replied, his blue eyes steady. "It's only when you reach out that you can pull people in. You don't know what they're feeling or what they may have been waiting for all along." As they entered the park, Jessica looked at the vibrant greenery illuminated by the setting sun. There was a warmth rising within her, a connection to something greater. Maybe this journey would mend wounds she hadn't even recognized existed. Before they could delve deeper into the conversation, a commotion erupted nearby. A group of children giggled and darted past them, followed by a cacophony of shouts. It was a playful scene, innocent and chaotic. Yet, amid the laughter, a figure stood apart, a woman, her expression troubled, gazing at the children with palpable sadness. "Jessica, look over there," Mr. Thompson pointed, breaking her focus. "Sometimes, the stories we carry aren't easily visible." Taking a moment, she studied the woman's face, a mirror of her own unspoken fears. It was a reminder that connection was everywhere, waiting for her to reach out, to share. But would she? The weight of her choice pressed heavily upon her as sparks of realization ignited in her heart. The next step could change everything. Would she muster the courage to make it? Jessica's heart raced as she watched the woman standing in the distance. Something about her deep-set eyes felt all too familiar, whispering the same secrets Jessica tried to bury. Mr. Thompson's words echoed in her mind. Connections were waiting, and maybe, just maybe, she'd find one in this stranger. "I should talk to her," Jessica said, turning to him as hope flickered. But doubt crept in like a shadow. "What if she doesn't want to be bothered?" "Trust your instincts," Mr. Thompson replied gently. "You'll never know until you try." Taking a deep breath, Jessica stepped forward. The sweet smell of damp earth surrounded her, mixing with the acrid scent of the nearby street. Each step felt like a leap into the unknown. The children's laughter faded into a quiet backdrop as she approached the woman. "Excuse me," she called out, her voice wavering. The woman turned, surprise etched on her face. "Yes?" Jessica hesitated, the words swirling around in her head. "I noticed you watching the kids. Are you okay?" It was a simple question, but with layers she didn't yet understand. That a flicker of vulnerability crossed the woman's features before she quickly masked it with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Just got lost in thought," she admitted, her voice tinged with sadness. "They remind me of simpler times." A knot formed in Jessica's throat. She knew those times, the laughter that felt eternal and the days that seemed to stretch into memories. My grandmother just passed away. I found a letter from her today. It made me think about the past." The woman's expression softened, and she took a small step closer. "I understand. Family has a way of wrapping you in warmth, even when they're gone." Jessica's heart pounded again, this time with recognition. "What is your name?" "Marissa," the woman replied. "And you're Jessica." How did she know? It startled her, but maybe the connection was growing stronger. "Yes. How did I used to know your grandmother?" Marissa said, her eyes welling with emotion. "She was a dear friend. The ground beneath Jessica felt less like solid earth and more like quicksand. What? You knew her? Yes. Many years ago, Marissa said, her voice barely above a whisper. She had a way of seeing the good in everyone. I lost touch, but not a day goes by that I don't think about those who are no longer here. Suddenly, the letter in Jessica's pocket felt heavier, filled with stories waiting to be told. Can you tell me about her? I need to understand. I think I was given this letter for a reason. As they stood together, surrounded by the laughter echoing from the playground, a shift occurred. It was as if the universe was realigning around them, offering a new chapter filled with promise. Jessica saw the same longing reflected in Marissa's eyes that she felt in her own heart, a yearning to connect, to remember. Of course, Marissa said, her voice regaining strength. There's so much to say, and I know your grandmother would want you to hear it all. In that moment, Jessica felt the weight of her fear begin to thaw, replaced by a tentative but blossoming sense of excitement. She wasn't just stepping into the unknown. She was stepping into a legacy. But just as the first thread of connection was about to be woven, a loud thud resonated behind them. Jessica turned quickly, her heart dropping. A child had stumbled, and as their wails filled the air, chaos erupted anew. Marissa's expression shifted to one of concern. We should help, and in that instant, Jessica realized that this could be a moment of transformation not just for her, but for those around her. The past, present, and future were intertwining in ways she had yet to fully grasp. Would she be willing to embrace not only her own journey but help others in theirs? As the noise enveloped them and their shared stories hung in the air, Jessica took a step forward, uncertainty and hope swirling within her. Was she ready to forge connections that could heal? She could feel the question hanging over them like the promise of the setting sun, and she knew the answer would shape the narrative of her life in ways she hadn't yet imagined. Jessica's heart raced again, but this time it was with a sense of urgency. She turned back to Marissa, whose worried gaze followed the sound of the child. The laughter had transformed into tears, and a small crowd began to gather, anxious whispers mixing with the cries. Let us go, Marissa urged gently, her hand resting on Jessica's shoulder, grounding her. The simple touch sent warmth through Jessica, igniting an unspoken agreement. Not only were they here for their own stories, they were here for each other, for anyone in need. As they hurried towards the commotion, Jessica glanced around. Other parents rushed to attend to the fallen child, a little girl no older than 5. Her scraped knee was already bright red, and the tears streamed down her cheeks as her mother scooped her up, soothing her with gentle words. I'm so sorry. The mother spoke, her voice trembling. I didn't see you there. It's okay, sweetheart, Marissa said with authority, kneeling beside them. Accidents happen. You're brave for getting back up. Those simple words seemed to momentarily halt the child's sobs, and she peered through her tears at Marissa. Jessica felt the warmth in her chest grow. Seeing Marissa connect with the child somehow reinforced the bond forming between them. It was a special kind of magic, the way compassion could knit souls together. As the little girl began to settle, Jessica felt a tug from inside. I think there's something we can all learn from this. Her voice was steadier now, firm with belief. Moments like these, they remind us how easily life can change. Marissa nodded, her expression softening even more. Exactly. And sometimes, those changes can lead us to something beautiful. The girl's mother looked up, confusion mingling with gratitude in her eyes. You think so? It's just a scraped knee. But it's not just that, Jessica said, surprised by her own conviction. It's about the care, the moment you learn how to pick yourself up. As they spoke, Jessica's past swirled around her. Memories of her grandmother teaching her how to ride a bike, how to be resilient. She wished she could share that wisdom with everyone around her. A thought formed in her mind, a yearning to create a space where courage and vulnerability coexisted in harmony. Marissa smiled warmly at Jessica, her eyes sparkling with understanding. You're discovering your voice, aren't you? I can feel it. But just as Jessica began to lean into that feeling, the joyful laughter of children resumed, draping a blanket of relief over them all. Together, they stood watching the little girl, who was now laughing, her triumphant return to playing seeming effortless. Thank you for being here, the little girl's mother said, her voice thick with emotion. You helped me see this moment differently. The child beamed up at Jessica and Marissa, and Jessica felt that warmth spread even further. Maybe this connection meant more than she initially thought. As they stepped away, Jessica couldn't shake the feeling that something had truly shifted within her. The past suddenly felt alive, and the future held possibilities she hadn't dared to imagine. "Can I get your number?" Marissa asked, her voice holding a hint of hope. "I'd love to continue our conversation. There's so much to explore." "Yes," Jessica replied, her heart swelling. "I think we have a lot to share and discover." But just as she pulled her phone from her pocket, a shadow loomed behind them. A man stood there, an intense look on his face as he called out, "Jessica, we need to talk." She turned, the world around her fading away. Who was he? What did he want? Moments before, she had felt strong, caught up in a wave of possibilities. Now, anxiety bubbled within her again like a forgotten storm, ready to unleash its fury. Why did he know her name? What could he possibly want? As uncertainty and dread took hold, Jessica realized she had to face this new chapter. But at what cost? Jessica's breath caught in her throat as her gaze locked on the stranger. He didn't resemble anyone from her past, but the familiarity in his presence sent a shiver racing down her spine. As the hum of the park faded into the background, all she could hear was the pounding of her heart. "Who are you?" she managed to ask, her voice steadier than she felt. "I'm here to help," he replied, his tone urgent but laced with a hint of caution. "It's about your family. You need to listen." The words settled like cold stones in her stomach. She exchanged a fleeting glance with Marissa, desperately seeking reassurance in her friend's startled eyes. But Marissa seemed frozen, caught in a moment of disbelief as the tension thickened around them. "I don't understand. My family." Jessica's words trembled. Memories danced around her mind, every family dinner, teenage argument, and loving embrace. Were they in danger? Yes. The man pressed forward, his eyes locked onto hers. "There's something you don't know. Something important. Your birthday, it's not just another year. It's a turning point." Behind them, the laughter of children once again bubbled up, but it felt distant now, as if Jessica was submerged underwater, separated from everything she knew. She drew in a shaky breath, trying to grasp what he meant. "Look, Jessica, I wish I could explain everything right here, but we need to go somewhere where it's safe. You deserve the truth. Why should I trust you?" The question slipped out before she could hold it back, a lifeline to her wavering resolve. The man shifted nervously, glancing at the gathering crowd before returning his focus to her. "Because you have to. This is bigger than you think. I promise, I wouldn't be here if it weren't important." She scanned the park, her heartbeat quickening. Did she truly want to take this leap? A part of her fought against it, the instinctive urge to retreat to her familiar life, to the comfort of routine. But another ember flickered within her, the fiery realization that her life had become stagnant, marked by missed opportunities and the quiet tremors of regret. Marissa finally broke the silence, her voice soft but filled with conviction. "It's your choice, but maybe it's time to discover something new." Her words echoed in Jessica's mind, threatening to melt the ice of indecision surrounding her. What if this man held the keys to buried mysteries? What if her family was tangled in something much greater, something that could reshape everything she assumed about herself? Taking a steadying breath, Jessica took a step forward. "Okay, I'll go with you, but you have to promise me that I'll understand everything." The man nodded, a flicker of relief brushing across his face. "You will. I promise." As they turned to leave, Jessica glanced back at Marissa one last time. Hope and worry swirled in her friend's eyes, a mix of encouragement laced with uncertainty. "I'll text you," Jessica whispered, the words hanging between them like an unspoken vow. With one last wave, they stepped away from the park. The world hustled around her, but Jessica felt weightless, each step forward like a leap into the unknown. "Where are we going?" she asked, curiosity sparking deep inside. "To uncover the truth about your family and the extraordinary legacy that awaits you," he stated, his voice steady as they moved further away. As those words settled in, a tingle raced up her spine. What had her life become? Was she ready to uncover the truth? The sense of adventure mixed with fear surged within her. Could this truly change everything she believed? As they walked on, a question pressed in her chest. What could she possibly discover about herself and her family that would shatter her understanding of life as she knew it? The sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a warm golden light that wrapped around Jessica and the stranger like a blanket. It felt surreal walking away from everything she knew, the familiar seams of her life pulled apart. She stole a glance at him, his profile set against the backdrop of the dimming sky. Who was he really? Can you at least tell me your name? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan, he replied simply, glancing back at her with a serious expression. Huh, Ethan. The name rolled off her tongue, strange but fitting somehow. What do you know about my family? He hesitated, the weight of the question lingering in the air. More than you think. Your family has a history, a legacy that connects all of you. It goes back generations. And it's been hidden, but it's time you knew. Jessica rubbed her arms, feeling a chill sweep through her. What do you mean? Hidden? Why would anyone want to hide something from me? A wave of anger flickered within her. She had always been close to her family, because they thought it would protect you. But the truth is powerful, and it can set you free, he explained. They stepped away from the park and found themselves on a bustling street. People rushed past them, laughing and caught up in their own worlds. But for Jessica, the laughter felt like echoes from another dimension. She was stepping out of one life and into what? Where are we headed? She pressed, trying to ground herself in the reality of the moment. Just a little further. Curiosity urged her forward, even as trepidation clawed at her gut. The air was thick with secrets, and with every step, she could feel them swirling around her. The streets grew quieter as they walked toward a small, unassuming cafe tucked between two towering buildings. It looked almost out of place, a relic from another time. Ethan pushed open the door, a gentle bell chiming overhead. Inside, the atmosphere was cozy, bathed in soft yellow lights and the rich scent of coffee. Jessica was momentarily distracted by the warmth and the comforting clatter of mugs being set down on wooden tables. Ethan led her to a secluded booth at the back. We'll have some privacy here, he said, sliding into the seat across from her. Jessica took a deep breath. Okay, tell me, what is this legacy you're talking about? What does it mean for me? Your family was part of something much larger, he began, leaning in as if afraid of being overheard. From a long line of guardians. There are forces at play, dark ones. They've been watching your family for years, waiting for the moment to strike. A shiver coursed through Jessica. Guardians? Forces? This sounds like some kind of movie plot. I know it sounds improbable, but it's the truth. Your birthday, it marks a shift. A choice you'll have to make soon. Why am I just finding out about this now? What happens if I don't want to be part of it? Jessica felt her heart racing. Because you've been shielded from it all this time. But now that you know, his expression held seriousness, layers of meaning dancing behind his eyes. If you decide to embrace this, it will change everything. You can either run from it or choose to accept your role. The cafe buzzed around them, but Jessica felt as if they had entered a bubble, isolated from the world. Could she really embrace a legacy filled with shadowy figures and responsibility? Ethan's gaze softened. Whatever you decide, just know that you're stronger than you realize. Jessica's fingers drummed on the table as urgency filled her. She could feel the gravity of his words pulling her closer to a destiny she didn't understand. What could she possibly be meant for? Was it possible that her ordinary life was really a cover for something extraordinary? As she struggled with her thoughts, Ethan's expression shifted. Jessica, you need to be ready. The choice you're about to face will come sooner than you think, and at that moment, seated in that little cafe, the ground beneath her felt less stable than ever before. What did the future hold? And what would she have to sacrifice to find her place in it? Jessica stared at Ethan, her mind racing. The cafe around them buzzed with life, but she felt completely frozen in time. She couldn't shake the unease settling in her stomach. Sooner than I think. What does that even mean? Ethan leaned back in his seat, the shadows of the cafe flickering on his face. Tonight. It's your birthday, and the choice awaits you. The words hung in the air, heavy with implications. Her birthday? It felt like just another day. Routine. Dinner with her family, laughter, and the typical fun. Now, everything felt turned upside down. You must be kidding, she said, feeling the heat rush to her cheeks. I can't just reshape my entire life in one evening. Ethan's gaze pierced through her. You already have by choosing to learn the truth. The question is, what are you going to do with that knowledge? You say I'm stronger than I realize, but right now, I feel anything but strong. Jessica's voice cracked. revealing a crack in her composed facade. Ethan reached across the table, placing his hand over hers. Strength comes from understanding and accepting who you are. His words brimmed with conviction. You're part of something powerful. It's your choice to step into that power. What power? Jessica felt overwhelmed. Her world had always felt small, predictable, a gentle existence of day-to-day routine. How could she be a guardian? What if I don't want any part of this? Then it's your choice and your consequence. But those forces watching your family will not simply disappear. You can either run, or you can stand your ground and fight for the safety of those you love. He was right, damn it. She didn't want to live in ignorance anymore. But the idea of responsibility, of stepping into a legacy she had no idea about, terrified her. What if she failed? Tell me more about these forces, she urged, her heart pounding. What are we up against? Ethan hesitated again. It's not just darkness that we're talking about. It's manipulation, control, betrayal, all masked in normalcy. People you trust could be involved, pulling strings behind the curtain. His words painted a picture of a web too intricate for her to comprehend. Jessica felt a chill run down her spine, a frightful realization washing over her. Are you saying someone in my family could be part of this? Yes, he whispered, the tension heightening between them. But I need to show you the truth. Show me? She echoed, uncertainty creeping back. Like how? Tonight, after dinner, meet me at the old willow tree in the park. I'll explain more and reveal what you need to know. You'll see what you're truly up against. Her heart raced as she considered his words. It felt like a jump into the deep end of a pool she'd never known existed. Yet, she could also feel a strange pull, an almost magnetic attraction towards the unknown. Okay, she finally said, her voice steadying. I'll meet you. Ethan smiled, a flicker of hope shining in his eyes. You won't regret this, Jessica. The truth is waiting for you. As they sat in silence, the cafe around them faded, and Jessica thought of that dinner with her family. A simple birthday celebration suddenly felt trivial. She stole a glance outside. The sun had completely vanished, the stars peeking through the city lights. Before I make this choice, can I at least trust you? She asked, vulnerability slipping through her guarded walls. You can, he said, the sincerity in his eyes igniting a tiny spark of trust within her. Just remember, the journey can be tough, but you don't have to face it alone. Jessica nodded slowly, her heart still racing. Together, they were about to take a leap into a world where shadows lurked and legacy entanglements lay hidden. What awaited her beneath the ancient branches of that willow tree? And would truth truly pave the way to liberation, or could it lead her to something much darker? Jessica's heart pounded in her chest as she left the cafe, the world outside feeling eerily different. The laughter and chatter of the evening filtered through her hazy thoughts. She tried to shake off the weight of Ethan's words, but they clung to her like shadows, growing heavier with every passing moment. Dinner with her family was supposed to be a light-hearted affair, a time to celebrate her birthday with cake and stories. Yet, as she approached her front door, she felt the weight of a different kind of darkness that had begun to envelop her. What if the people she loved were not who they seemed? This thought gripped her, twisting her stomach into knots. Happy birthday. Her mother's voice broke through her daze as she stepped inside the warm glow of their cozy living room. Jessica forced a smile, her heart still racing. Her family was here, gathered around the dining table, dishes piled high with her favorite foods. Just in time, her dad chimed, lifting his glass. Let us toast to our favorite birthday girl. She smiled weakly and raised her glass, but the clinking sound felt distant. Suddenly, the delicious aroma of garlic and herbs seemed muted. Every laugh and cheerful comment felt like an echoing reminder of the truth waiting for her beneath the willow tree. As they settled into dinner, Jessica tried to focus on what was happening around her. Her little brother was animatedly recounting stories from his recent trip, her mom beaming with pride, while her dad participated with a chuckle here and there. There was a comforting normalcy to their banter, and yet, a quiet nagging sense of dread settled in. Jess, is everything all right? Her mother asked, catching a glimpse of her distracted state. Yeah, just thinking, she replied, her voice betraying her. About what? Her brother nudged her playfully, his grin wide. Just life, you know, she said, hoping the vague answer would suffice. The truth was, she was scared. scared of what she would uncover, of what they might be hiding from her. As dinner wound down, and laughter filled the spaces between bites, Jessica felt her mind racing towards the time she'd agreed to meet Ethan. There was still an hour left before she had to leave, but how could she sit here, pretending everything was normal when her world was shifting beneath her? "Let us bring out the cake." Her mother's voice snapped her back to the moment as the dessert was placed in front of her, candles flickering with the soft light. "Make a wish," her father encouraged, and everyone leaned in expectantly. What could she wish for? Jessica closed her eyes, the truth swirling behind her lids. Freedom? Understanding? The courage to face what was coming? She inhaled deeply and made her wish. When she blew out the candles, cheers erupted around her, but she felt strangely distant. They were celebrating her, and yet, she felt like an outsider in her own life. After the cake was served, everyone chatted excitedly, but Jessica's mind was on the impending darkness outside. "Jessica?" Her mother's voice broke through, drawing her back. "Are you all right? You seem lost in thought." "I'm fine, Mom. Just time to head out. I have plans with a friend," she replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "Be back soon, okay? We'll save some cake for you." "Of course," she promised, even as a lump formed in her throat. She gathered her things, glancing back at her family with newfound determination mixed with creeping anxiety. The air was cool as she stepped outside, and the stars twinkled above like watchful eyes. Each step towards the park felt heavy yet liberating, the shadows from Ethan's warnings lingering in her mind. What would she find at the willow tree? The thought sent chills down her spine. She had a feeling that this would just be the beginning. With the tree now in view, a rush of adrenaline coursed through her veins. The moment of truth was so close. As she approached, she noticed someone standing beneath the gnarled branches, shrouded in darkness. It wasn't just Ethan waiting for her tonight. Jessica, a familiar voice called out, but it wasn't Ethan. Her heart raced as she stepped closer, a wave of dread washing over her. What awaited her here? Was she ready for the truth that could unravel everything she thought she knew? Jessica's heart raced as the voice echoed through the quiet park, slicing through the heavy silence that surrounded the willow tree. She squinted, trying to make out the figure standing in the shadows. Instinctively, she took a step back. What was happening? Who could it be? "Jessica, it's me, Sarah," the voice called again, stepping forward into the dim light. Jessica's breath hitched. Her childhood friend, who had moved away years ago, now stood before her, a nervous smile on her face. "Sarah, what are you doing here?" Jessica's words came out more startled than she intended. Seeing Sarah brought a rush of memories of laughter, secrets, and a bond that time hadn't completely severed. "But why now on this night? I couldn't let your birthday go by without seeing you. Especially not after everything," Sarah said, her expression shifting to something more serious. "I didn't know how to reach you, but I had to tell you something important." Jessica felt the ground shift beneath her feet. Ethan's warnings and the unease she felt at dinner blended with this unexpected reunion. "What is going on, Sarah?" "I've been hearing things." Sarah hesitated, her eyes darting toward the distant park entrance. "Things about your family, about what happened before I left." "It's serious, Jess." Dread pooled in Jessica's stomach, mixing with curiosity. "What do you mean? What have you heard?" "The secrets, they're bigger than you think. I didn't know if I should get involved, but you deserve to know." Sarah's gaze pierced through the darkness, her urgency palpable. "Beneath all those stories, something darker lies hidden. I had to warn you before it's too late." Jessica felt cold, the reality of her family's cheer and warmth from dinner fading into a chilling memory. "You can't just drop that on me. What are you saying?" The question hung in the air, trembling with fear and longing for the truth. Silence enveloped them as Sarah stepped closer, her voice low. "I can't say much here. Just trust me. Meet me at Lucas's cafe tomorrow morning. We need to talk, and you need to prepare yourself." 1,000 thoughts raced through Jessica's mind, questions about loyalty, her family, and who she could trust. "I don't know if I can. You have to. I know it's a lot to take in, but this is your life we're talking about. You deserve to know everything." Sarah's tone shifted, desperation lining her words. "Promise me you'll come." With a shaky breath, Jessica nodded, her heart still throbbing from the whirlwind of emotions. "Okay, I promise." "Good." A fleeting look of relief washed over Sarah's face. She leaned in, her voice barely above a whisper. And be careful, Jess. I can't shake the feeling that someone is watching you. A chill crept down Jessica's spine. Was her life really that precarious? As Sarah stepped back into the shadows, leaving Jessica alone once again, she felt the weight of uncertainty settle heavily upon her. The night seemed darker as she stood beneath the willow tree. Old memories, secrets, and an overwhelming sense of dread swirled in her mind. What else had she yet to uncover? As much as she yearned for clarity, deep down, she was terrified of what the truth might cost her. With a heavy heart, Jessica turned and made her way back home, grappling with the knowledge that tomorrow would change everything. Secrets were waiting, clawing to be unearthed, and now there was no turning back. As she reached her house, she couldn't shake off Sarah's warning. She felt the familiar ache of doubt and fear intertwining with a flicker of determination. What awaited her at the cafe? Would the truth offer answers, or only deepen her confusion? She stepped over the threshold, the door clicking shut behind her, leaving her in a silence that echoed with questions and uncertainty. Tomorrow was a new beginning, but would it be the dawn of hope or the descent into darkness? The sun rose the next morning, casting a soft, golden glow over the neighborhood. As Jessica stirred awake, her heart felt heavy, weighed down by thoughts of the night before. She had promised Sarah she would meet at Lucas's cafe, but now dread snaked through her thoughts. What if her friend revealed something she couldn't handle? As she got ready, every mental warning screamed at her. The coffee maker dripped silently in the background, blending in with her mounting anxiety. She tried shaking off the fear, but it clung to her like an unwanted shadow. Get a grip, Jess, she muttered, fixing her hair in the mirror. You're stronger than this. The resolve pushed her forward, and before she knew it, she was out the door, headed toward the cafe that felt both comforting and foreboding. Each step down the sidewalk was a blend of defiance and uncertainty, echoing the two worlds she felt stuck between. As she entered the familiar cafe, the aroma of brewing coffee wrapped around her like a warm hug. Jessica scanned the room and spotted Sarah seated by the window, her expression serious. That instant shift in the atmosphere sent jitters racing through her. Hey, Jessica said, sliding into the seat across, her voice trembling with apprehension. Hey. Sarah's eyes flickered with urgency, the warmth of their shared childhood memories seeming distant now. Thank you for coming. What is going on? Jessica leaned in, her heart racing with unresolved fears. It's about your family, Sarah began, her voice barely above a whisper as if the walls had ears. You've heard stories, right? And not really. Just what they've told me, Jessica admitted, her eyes darting around the cafe. Part of her wanted to back out and return to the comfort of ordinary life. Jessica, there are things hidden deeper than you can imagine. Your family, they've got ties. Ties to something bigger and more dangerous than any of you realize. With each word, Jessica felt the world tilt beneath her. What do you mean? What ties? They were protectors. Your grandmother, your mother, and you, Sarah explained, urgency crackling in the air. It's not just family legacy, it's history. A responsibility that has lingered in the shadows. Someone is watching, waiting for the moment to strike. Jessica's heart raced, fear intermingling with a growing strength. But why didn't anyone tell me? Because of the dangers, Sarah replied, the gravity of her tone deepening. And because Elise, your mother, she believed it was safer for you to live an ordinary life. She wanted to protect you from all this. But why me? Jessica felt lost, confused by the revelation. The ordinary life she craved was now filled with potential danger. You hold something special, something that can tip the scales, Sarah said, leaning closer, her eyes locked onto Jessica's. Those forces will stop at nothing to silence anyone with that power. Jessica took a deep breath, grappling with the weight of Sarah's words. The thrill of disbelief mixed with the gripping reality of her family's hidden truth ignited her spirit. And what do you think I'm supposed to do about it? Understand your role, Jess. Accept it. But most importantly, stay aware, Sarah urged, a sense of urgency pulsating in her voice. It's time to stop running. The cafe hummed with life around them, yet in their corner, a storm brewed. Jessica's heart swelled with a depth of understanding she had long sought, but that she now yearned to clarify. If I'm truly meant to be part of this, can you help me? Absolutely, Sarah replied, determination flashing in her eyes. But you will have to choose to fight. You can't do it alone. Jessica bit her lip, the enormity of Sarah's request settling in her gut. What if I'm not strong enough? You are stronger than you believe, Sarah said with conviction. You don't know what you're capable of until put to the test. In that moment, Jessica felt something shift inside her. She had been living sheltered in an illusion, wrapped in her own doubts. Here was the catalyst for change, the key to unlocking a world where she could be more than what she thought she was. Okay, Jessica said, determination rising like fire within her. I'll fight. I'll embrace whatever this legacy means. Sarah's eyes brightened, relief mingling with pride. That's what I wanted to hear. With that affirmation, they locked eyes, the bond of shared understanding deepening. For the first time in days, Jessica felt an undeniable flicker of hope. I need to tell my family, she murmured, feeling the weight of generations pressing down but equipping her with undeniable strength. Just be careful, Sarah cautioned, her voice steady. Your family needs to be on your side. I'll figure it out, Jessica promised herself as they stood to leave. And while a new burden rested on her shoulders, Jessica felt a transformation igniting within her. Today, she wasn't just stepping into a role of protection. She was forging a path toward redefining her identity. As they left the cafe, their spirits intertwined. The sun broke through the cloud cover, illuminating the world around them. They stepped into the future, ready to face whatever awaited, becoming warriors of their own stories, a legacy transformed. The journey ahead would be riddled with uncertainty and fear. But alongside her childhood friend, Jessica felt anchored by the promise of change and the pursuit of truth. One step at a time, they would piece together the mysteries of the past and reclaim their strength. And as they walked away from the cafe, Jessica felt a determination that no dark force could shatter. Time for the world to know who she truly was. Now it's your turn to ignite the energy and passion. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this. Ending your voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. True fans always know how crucial your support is for our journey.